Okay, welcome everybody. Again, apologize for the late start here due to the Zoom meeting link. But thank you for joining. Let this reflect that right now we have 17 on the call. Owen is not a member, so without him, we'll have a quorum here. Hopefully we'll get a few other people, but we'll go ahead and get started. To go over the agenda, as everybody knows, every time I remind everyone, we do not have a secretary right now. I think we'll try to get somebody back on as a secretary, since we're not doing minutes, we're recording, and then we are posting the videos on the Cherry Creek Neighborhood Association YouTube channel. So that is our minutes are actually recordings. And we are recording this. So
just a quick note, you can now get AI services that put the minutes together for you, so you don't actually need a person.
Okay, so Bill, are you going to be our secretary to do that?
I'll see if I can find an AI to
Okay. I think you just nominated yourself. All in favor? Welcome, Secretary Bill.
You finally got me.
I did. Okay, we'll move on then. That was a great bit of business. Thank you all very, very much. Let's see. Let's see. Owen, you are here. Would you like to provide an update for Councilwoman Sawyer?
Sure. Thanks, Lou. It's good to see you guys. We are gearing up for our fall community cleanup day. It's October 6th. We're going to be cleaning 16 bus stops and then half of city-owned parks in District 5. And then just a reminder, on Tuesday next week, the mayor will be at Bromwell to talk about his affordable housing initiative. Councilwoman Sawyer, unfortunately, won't be able to make it, but a staff will be there. And I think the two council members at large, Gonzalez Gutierrez and Parody, will be there in her place. Other than that, nothing else. Keep pressing on.
I'll report to everybody right now that Cherry Creek North is hosting, on behalf of INC, of which many of the RNOs are members, the ballot initiative forum, which will be run along with Denver Decides and the League of Women Voters. That will be at the historic church up on 6th and Adams on September 14th. So if you go on the Inc. website and you want to attend that, please make a reservation so we know how many people. Denver Decides is pretty picky about how they run their forums. So we want to keep that, we want to get it out to the neighbors, but we want to make sure that everyone knows about that. So we will move on to Richard. Do you want to do a quick presentation on the bid, and then we might shuffle a little bit to accommodate Annette on a couple of the agenda items.
Perfect. All right. So I'll just go with the bid update and not touch on the Walker stuff right now. So the bid update, just for everybody's information, a lot of good stuff going on. So safety update, we are down 18.1% in criminal activity through July. So that's good news. The public safety efforts are, moving forward well, and we're seeing a decrease in criminal activity. We are going to be starting a construction project on Fillmore. We're going to be replacing the LED lighting in the light blades and that center shade structure. Those things have come to end of life, and we can't really change the programming. So that'll be replaced starting on September 19th. So we'll have Fillmore closed between 1st and 2nd, a few days here and there. We're going to do most of the work off ladders, so we won't impact the roadway. But we're excited for that to get finished, because we'll be able to program this lighting where if the Rockies are playing, we can do purple. The Broncos are playing, we can do orange themes. So really excited about that upgrade and what we'll be able to do with it. Finishing up with the landscaping projects for the year, we still have a few projects on 2nd Avenue and a few corner beds that we'll be addressing, and going in and planting a lot of bulbs to really increase that spring pop that we get. So we're going in with a significant investment in landscaping this year with finishing that up, and we were really thinking it's looking good, and we're just going to keep pushing forward to that again next year. As we're in budget cycle, we are looking at some additional landscaping projects we'll do next year. Other than that, everything else I have will really just go into that little report on where we're looking at the Walker study, Lou.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to shuffle this just a little bit because I think we want to accommodate Annette's need to probably get off a little bit early. And I think that Bill Allen also has to leave a little bit early. So I'm going to talk a little bit about bylaws. I did not send a resolution around for a couple of reasons. One, I think I'm just really looking at this a little bit more as we move forward. The bylaws for the steering committee were done in 2005. We've changed them from time to time, but they need to be cleaned up a little bit. And as we talked about, we want to add a seat for both the Buell Foundation and for Cherry Creek West. So I will be getting that out to you. It does require 10 days of consideration. So we'll probably take that up at the next meeting. But it will be something that will make it easier for us to deal with some of these actions that we will need to take under the Cherry Creek West agreement. And I have sent that to all of you. So hopefully you've had a chance. Many of you have been working diligently on this agreement, and we so appreciate it. You've been reading it and following up on it for the area RNOs. And we've had several Zoom meetings about that. And I thank everybody for doing that. I'm going to flip over to that particular topic. I did get an email from David Steele. He said he gave me his vote in writing per my request that if you weren't able to do it, provide your vote in favor of moving forward with that agreement. But he was not able to make the actual meeting. So what I would like to do is, first of all, just make sure that everybody has received that and has had a chance to take a look at it. We're in final discussions. There have been a number of things that have been tweaked today. One of the things that the developer came back, we'd added that language. You know, they're really concerned about making sure that they don't have to deal with a whole bunch of people that are all of your successors, right? That nobody knows in the future when they come back. And I mean, they're pretty comfortable with this group, but we all know that this is a volunteer organization, that people move off of these boards sometimes, and that we may have new people in the future. So what they wanted to know is that the steering committee will still be the sort of gatekeeper of a lot of these actions when they come back to us. They wanted to put a 30-day period where if we send this out with a request for a modification and an RNO doesn't respond within 30 days, that non-response, and of course what we would do is, if we get a request to modify, it would come to the steering committee like a lot of the other notification about this project. We would then send that out to all of the steering committee members, and the area RNO members of the steering committee would then take that back to their boards, their organizations, talk about that, and then take the temperature of whether that board wanted to, in fact, come back and approve that modification. We would talk about it just like we've talked about the document, and we would work through the language just like we have with the agreement. And we would handle that by a vote of those area RNOs that actually get approval and are signatories to the agreement. So they said, well, what if it's a tie? And I'm like, well, if it's a tie, we got to have a tie break provision. And so in that case, they want to at least add that the steering committee can be the tie break vote for area RNOs. And so does anybody have a problem with that? If you know, that language isn't in there now, but that is one of the tweaks. So in the resolution, which I can bring up and share in just a moment, it does talk about the ability to add the exhibits, fix some things. I found a typo on a section. Those kinds of things we're going to have to fix. Some other little things, they'll just doing a hard read, you always find something, right? So that stuff needs to be fixed. That's a substantive provision that I wanted to make sure you were all comfortable with, because we'll draft a tie break in that that allows anybody who doesn't respond won't be counted in the vote. And then if there is a tie vote, the steering committee can break that. It is very unlikely we're going to see a lot of that, at least in the first 10 years as this thing comes out of the ground, but it's always possible. So we draft to it to make sure that we have it covered in a way that is clear so that everybody can understand what their rights and obligations are. But we're really hoping we won't see a lot of that, especially in this first build out. But we're asking for things like this use provision to last for 20 years. And so the benefits of this agreement, I think, are substantial. We are capping the building heights, the number of buildings, the uses, which will drive traffic, and a number of other provisions that will guarantee that this product will fit into the neighborhood. Some agreements about how they're going to restrict balconies so that we don't have a lot of bikes and toys and junk and workout stuff on balconies that can be visible from our main streets. Those are some of the in the weeds kind of things, but they still provide good benefits. They're going to provide the minimum amount of affordable housing, which is a benefit to this area since we desperately need some affordable housing. And the green that will be provided for the neighborhood. So we've got a fair amount of benefits that are in this agreement. And I'm very hopeful that if anybody has had any questions about it, they've had a chance to ask. Now, I anticipated that Amy might be here and just abstain because she's clearly conflicted on this, but she could also speak to this issue and how this process has evolved. But most of you all really do know that your participation has been taken into account. Bob?
On the limitations on height, I notice there's some new language. It now appears as if, and perhaps others of you have noticed this, that they have four residential buildings no greater than 168 feet. They also have such other buildings as not office that could be 11 stories. So they could have essentially 4 13-story structures and 4 or 3 11-story structures.
No,
Is that
no, that's not right. It's 13 stories for residential. It's 11 stories for one of the commercial buildings. And then 3 other buildings are 8 stories. And I can talk to you about this, walk you through the language. The difference is this, Bob. The 11-story office building can go up to 168 because the floor plates are bigger. So we have a complete cap on the height, but as far as stories, which drives square footage, as you know, there are only, yeah, 11 stories.
In thickness by quite a lot.
Yeah,
And
so
that's 15 stories at 13 feet if you go to 168. But the capping it at stories are what really are important to us because the floors of the building are what people inhabit.
correct.
Not the vertical
And so it's 3 buildings of residential up to 13, and only residential can go to 13. So that's the other thing we wanted to make sure we drafted there is that because they're taking advantage of the affordable housing increase.
But it says one additional building can go to 11 stories or other buildings. I just tried to read it quickly.
Why don't we look at that? Suffice it to say that it is 3 residential buildings of 13 stories, 1 commercial building of 11 stories, but which can be up to the 168 because of the commercial floor plate size, but it's only 11 stories, and the other buildings are 8, whether they're residential or office.
All right, yeah,
Because
the language is a little convoluted and I may have misread it.
Okay, I'm happy to go over that with anybody who wants to go over that. But so right now are there other questions that folks have?
There were some questions earlier. One of the earlier drafts said that requested that they pick up our legal fees. Legal fees on this could be substantial. And the steering committee is not likely to come up with $100,000 worth of legal money to defend this issue. Is that something that has been discussed in?
Well, that language has not changed, Bob, for several drafts. And basically what it says is that if there's a default process. This is all in section 3.05 if you all want to sing along. But if you get to an event of default, then we have these rights and remedies. And it says that if we have to institute any action or proceeding by or against the development for damages or for breach, then or any other remedy, then we're entitled, and you have to say this in a contract or you otherwise don't get it. You're entitled to recover all reasonable court costs and attorney's fees in connection with that proceeding.
Okay,
so
we're unlikely to bring an action that we would lose.
They are not. Sometimes these provisions are drafted so that the winning party gets the attorney's fees. That's not what this says. So if we lose, they can't get their attorney's fees from us. But our actions are for enforcement of the document, and we can get our attorney's fees from them, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. Just was it clear?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Bob, you can call me. We can talk more about this as you go through the final details if you haven't had a chance yet. But I think what I'm going to do right now is to call an initial vote. It does not mean that we cannot proceed, but I do want to get a raise of hands. You can do if you wouldn't mind doing if you go down to react and click on that and put your raise your hand up, so that I can get a little picture of all of you all with your little hands up or thumbs up or whatever. I believe that Richard is going to abstain from voting because I think that's what the bid has taken a position that they will abstain. So right now I'm seeing, let's see. Bill, Alan, are you voting in this? I don't see your hand up. And Christine Desenfants said she is, let me just get a quick picture of that she is also abstaining as part of the, and
this is on the resolution.
yes. So the resolution is basically the motion. I guess I should ask somebody for a formal, to put forth that motion and resolution. Can I have somebody that makes that motion?
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Bill. And so now thank you for that. I'm still not seeing, Alan, Linda Barker.
I'm in favor. It just won't let me do it.
Okay, so put your thumb up for a second. And Gwen, are you able to vote as well here?
Mine just disappeared.
Okay, that's fine. I got you. If you put your finger up, and I'll note it in the records here, but I'd like to just make sure that it's on this record so everybody has had a chance to weigh in. So 2, 4, 5.
Lou, I just wanted to say we're abstaining as well, myself, Stuart.
Oh, yes, I knew that, Stuart. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. They're also abstaining. Good. Thank you for that. So, and obviously, Councilwoman Sawyer doesn't take a position on this. She'll do that at council. So I've got, I believe that Larry and Mary were both unable to join, but we're going to send me their approvals as well. And I have David Steele's. So we will call this approved, this resolution and motion approved. I will work to do the following things following up with respect to that approval. One, I will be preparing for all of the area RNOs essentially a little memo about what is this agreement and what does it do in fundamental purposes, so that people know here's where it caps, here are the provisions where it does certain things. Like cap the height, provide for the green, talk about the percentage of open space and those things, so that you have a little bit of the high points, if you will, the big material points of the benefits that are intended to be provided to the area RNOs. So that will then help you go back to your boards, because what will happen now is that the area RNOs will have to go back to their boards, get approval from your organizations, and then deliver to me a resolution or other proof that your boards have signed off as an area benefited party. If you're not one of the named RNOs, which is Cherry Creek North, Cherry Creek East, Country Club, and Hilltop, you don't need to worry about that, right? You're the ancillary beneficiaries of steering committee participation. So, but those, I want to make sure that I have helped you to the extent that I can get the information out to your RNOs, so that you can make that decision and get that back to me. It is a little bit crunch time, because we want to get this done and signed and get them to get it done and signed. So we actually have a fully executed agreement by the time we go to city council. So that will then be able to be recorded against the property as soon as either before or probably concurrently with the final approval from city council. And again, if anybody has any questions or you want me to speak to your particular boards, I'm happy to do that. But we do need to get that done in the next couple of weeks. Is everybody good with that? I know Hilltop is meeting next week, and so we appreciate that. So unless we have more questions about that, we will move on, and we will go back to two things. One, I will be sending around this suggestion that we amend our bylaws to clean things up a little bit. And I am wondering if all of you right now, it's every January that I've been chair, I've asked for confirmation of who is sitting in the seat. And it sometimes gets a little fuzzy. So I thought I would change this to an annual, so that everybody could confirm who they want their representatives to be. There's no term limits on this. You're all in it for life. You can never go away. But if you want to, you can. But we really need people to be able to be nimble on that a little bit, so we can get people to sign on for a year and know that they're there for a year, and that they're not stuck in a position they don't want to be, especially if they roll off their RNOs or are no longer living in the area. There is not a requirement that the person who serves on behalf of the area RNO needs to be on that board. In fact, sometimes it's really good to have some other people that bring other talent and sort of watchdogs. And it can be a lot. So if you serve on this board and you have to serve on your RNO board and all those things, it can be a lot. So there is flexibility there. And of course, Councilwoman Sawyer for District 5 and Cashman for 6 need to approve. So they have to have a good relationship with anybody who's going to sit on the steering committee. And I know for a fact there are some people that probably wouldn't make that cut. So that's the only other thing. We want to make sure whoever you put up for your RNO is somebody that would be approved by Councilwoman Sawyer. And those are people that have a good working relationship. So my understanding, and Owen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is that this is really important for that council person to know that when she comes to the steering committee and she talks to these area neighborhood representatives, that she can come to us and she can talk to us and she can work with us, because that's the purpose of the steering committee. And so it's important to have that relationship. It's valued. When she was speaking at the Ludi meeting, she basically told the developer, I don't want you to come to city council unless you have that agreement signed, which was wonderful for us because it helps us know that we're all working together toward a common goal. And it encouraged the developer to sit down with us again and kind of iron out a few of these final points. So I will be trying to clean that up. I will get that out to you all. We will not wait to get that done to be able to get this document signed, but it will be important as we think about in the future how we continue to participate at the steering committee level while we're also under this contract. Because now we're all going to have real contractual obligations. Each of the RNOs and the steering committee are
Again?
required to participate, right?
There are.
So, so we want to make
I'm
sure
sorry, I'm on
that.
a Zoom meeting, so if I look like I'm ignoring you, I'm not. Just
Let's see.
help yourself.
So that we make sure that we are actually able to respond timely and to stand up to our obligations under these agreements. This is one of the few, I think, that the steering committee has entered into in my tenure, where we really are asking for something and then we're required to participate in getting those benefits under the terms of the contract. So it's a real contract, it's a real thing. We want to make sure that we get real resolutions. We want to cross the T's and dot the I's and do this right. And then we want to be at the table with this developer. We've asked them to do certain things. They said, that's fine as long as we know we can come back to you and educate you. We want a true partnership. And so that's what this does for us. So is that good? Everybody good with that?
Yeah, Lou, Brooks had his hand raised.
Oh, Brooks.
Yeah, I was just typing up something to send you. We used to get official appointment letters from our council person. And I thought, that gave some extra authority or importance to the position. It was nice to get something with the city seal on it saying that you were appointed to the position on the steering committee. And some of those more formal kind of things that we were doing seemed to have sort of disappeared. Maybe it was because of COVID. Maybe it's because of the, change of the redistricting. But it was really good because you felt it was an important position, and you tried to treat it that way.
No, I appreciate that, Brooks, and that's a really good point. We have gotten emails, so instead of the more formal writing, which we can ask for, a lot of this has been done by email approvals and notification. But we can go back and ask. I'm sure that our council people wouldn't have any problem doing that. At least I won't speak for them, but they've been pretty supportive of everything we've done and the community effort and volunteer effort that you all bring to bear. So it's a good point, Brooks. I will do that for the next, and Owen's giving us a thumb up. So we'll do that probably beginning in this next appointment year.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else on this topic of steering committee management, participation, contractual obligation under this agreement? Great. Thank you all very much for that. Let's move on then to our keynote speaker, Richard Barrett, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the status of their parking study. Richard.
Absolutely. First, Lou, I just want to say thank you so much for your work on this development agreement. I know how many meetings we are in together, and I know how many meetings you do without me, so I'm pretty sure you're a full-time employee of the neighborhood. So we appreciate all your work on that. I know it's not easy. for the good of the group, this is going to be kind of a 30,000-foot view of what we're starting to work on here in the bid. So, you know, we listen to our constituents, we listen to the neighbors, we watch the traffic flow patterns, and we know that, you know, we are in a great time right now, meaning we are super busy and we have a lot of first world problems. With those first world problems come traffic and parking issues and all the employee issues that I think everybody here knows that we see in the bid as we get busier and busier. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and contracted with Walker Consulting. It's a company that we actually used across the street when we did the shopping center conversion to take a look at the district and really do a study for us on kind of existing conditions out there and start to float some ideas to us on what we can do to improve, I'm going to say, parking and mobility issues in the Cherry Creek bid area. So we just got that report from them and we had a chance to review it with our group this morning. And out of that group, we kind of highlighted 4 things that are kind of initial things that we are looking at that we're going to eventually bring back to at least path out right now, contract further with them to path out solutions for. So those things really looking at noticing a big issue with people circling the neighborhood and not being able to find the new parking garages. As we all know, there's not always great signage out there. So we're going to do a deep dive into signage and wayfinding and see how we can do a better job to get people into those parking garages. You know, we don't know what that's going to look like yet or pathed out what that will cost, but this is one of those things that we're seriously looking into, and we think that we can do a lot better job out there. Next thing is going to be commercial deliveries. Those of you that might live in the bid and you deal with the semi-truck traffic and deliveries, you know, we're seeing that uptick of more restaurants, more facilities, more deliveries. And right now it's not managed. We know that alleys get blocked, folks get stuck in the alleys, especially with our lack of being allowed to do curb cuts on our named streets. We're only allowed to have alley access now off our numbered streets. So that really gives us two access points for these areas. And we're seeing a lot of issues, just a lot of congestion and things that we think we could do better with. So we're going to engage with our consultant to really take a look at what the best practices are across the country. Smart delivery systems go with the city, hopefully with the bandwidth of things, and say, hey guys, these are all great paths to solve our issues. And now can we partner with the city to solve these issues as it is out in the right of way. Next thing is to be really investigate and evaluate employee parking options. That's kind of all over the board. We hear that from the residential neighborhood. You have folks that park in your neighborhood. What we came to the conclusion is, you know, some businesses do a really good job of supporting employee parking. Some businesses do absolutely nothing. And then we have the construction issues on top of that. So we are going to do a deep dive into that and see what we can come up with that really pass some good solutions, what partnerships we can have. And along that line, that's going to really go to the next thing that we have to really do is really a collaboration, increased partnership with managers and operators in our district. The bid owns no parking assets in the district. We don't manage any parking assets in the district. So everything that we're going to do is going to be partnerships with our operators throughout the district. So we're going to path out what better partnerships we can have to hopefully impact these things with employee parking and some other areas. So those are the areas that we're really focusing on out of this study right now. So I would entertain any questions. Like I said, we haven't pathed out solutions here. We're really at that 30,000-foot view of really highlighting what are our problems that we want to go after. So I'd open it up for any questions.
I'll ask a question, Richard. Do the parking structure owners complain that they're not getting people in their parking structures? Because I hear they're empty, and empty means no money.
No, you know, I would say we don't get complaints from them about not getting people, but part of our goal here would be to drive parkers into those garages. You know, we don't want folks in the street. We know we have inventory. We know that inventory, you know, they can make money on that inventory. It's good for them. It's a win-win if they get people off the street and into garages easier. So we don't get complaints, Lou, but we know we have opportunity to put cars in those garages.
You used to have a program that was, I think, 5 after 5, which was $5 for any garage after 5 o'clock. Is there anything like that being considered?
Well, right now so that is still offered at some garages. You know, it's kind of done individually by garage and garage. So if you go to our website, you'll see what garages do discounts. A lot of times it's nights and weekends where they have that flat rate where it's cheaper, not during the prime time. But yes, garages still do offer that. But, you know, that's going to go into, as we get through this with signage and wayfinding is going to have marketing pieces in there also. And how do we communicate this? And there's a lot of layers we have to peel back because we know there's a lot of work to be done with this. So hopefully that answers your question.
Two thoughts really quickly for you. One is University Health Center, I've seen people parking in the Cherry Creek North and walking over to the office fairly often. And then the second thing is I've run into hotel employees who have been parking south at the mall. And that would be another potential source of multiple employees looking for a place to park.
Yeah, and our goal out of this is to find, we have workforce issues because, it's hard to park. And if somebody could, and we don't have great public transportation. So there are a lot of things that are going to spin into this process. But our goal would be to get those employees off the street and get them into garages where they can afford to park and not have the issues that we're seeing right now.
Richard, is there a way to coordinate with modern technology to consolidate a wayfinding on your cell phone that will show you where the vacancies are, so that you know before you head out where you're going to go?
Brooks, it just depends. Like I said, we don't own any of the parking garages. There's technology out there that you can look at the shopping center, for instance. That's one park and it's all unified and it's a wonderful system. Right now you have parking lots that are free, parking lots that are free for everybody or just for certain folks. We have our paid lots, which all have different technology. So as we get into that signage and wayfinding piece and getting customers there easier, I think we will be just looking into what technology is out there, and our consultant's going to come with recommendations. Now, I can't say I foresee a time that every garage is on the same system, because I don't think you can get every developer to just put a system in to invest in a new system, but I think there is a way to bridge those systems together and make it easier for the customer, yes.
Thank you.
What is the next step for the study?
The next step for us is I'm going to be working with Walker on a new proposal to take these things further down and give us some more clarity on them. So we got to the point with what we want to do. So now we're going to have them kind of path out those solutions for us. They're going to come to us with solutions, and then we need to figure out how we're going to get there with those solutions. So they're starting that process. I should probably have that work starting, I'd say, about 2 weeks.
Have they consulted on any, there've been talks about parking districts and how to structure a parking district? Are they experts in that area?
I'm not sure if they're experts in that area, I will say, Lou. I will say from the bid perspective, our take on it is that we have the same things that we could do with a parking district, we feel, within the bid boundary. So we look at it from our bid perspective, and we would not, we think we could handle this internally, and the right move for us to make would be to handle these things internally, not to do another overlay district on top of the districts that we already have.
Yes, but as long as you can capture the revenue, right?
Yes. Yeah. That will be a piece of it.
That's the important piece of it.
Or
You
any
can
of
do
the
a lot
third-
if you've got the money.
Then the reality is all these solutions, they take
Yeah.
investment, and I can say that the bid is serious about this. We're going to put dollars against this next year. So, we will be pathing solutions, and I am not the person, and neither is Nick, that's going to take a study and let it sit on a shelf. I've seen a lot of those. We will take a study and we will enact change to make positive difference. That's the point of why we do these things, and we think we will get it there. It's just going to take us a little bit of time to path them out.
Linda?
Well, I know parking downtown, the third-party parking services that you can, get a parking space on your phone in advance of parking down there. Is that a solution possibly?
Some garages already offer these things. So different garages have different systems right now. So that's part of our study, was like, what technology are they using? And so, yeah, certain garages can do that. And, some garages are totally free and some have really state-of-the-art systems, and it's everything in between. So from the bid perspective, not owning the parking, do I think, like I said, realistically, will everybody be on the same page? No, but there are overlay technologies we can maybe bring to the table. But that's all got to be pathed out through our consultant, who are really the experts in it. We've definitely realized we're not the experts in parking. We're not the experts in mobility. So we're going to be working with the experts to find the right solutions.
Linda?
Richard, this is great news. I'm sure you're well aware. I'm sure all the neighborhoods, parking is the #1 issue. We get emails on our social media almost every day. So a request is, as you even have piecemeal messages that we can relay to the neighborhoods, that would be greatly appreciated instead of waiting clear till the end. So even incremental steps that you're doing, if you share with us, we can get that message out so people are seeing that the bid really is a partnership with the neighborhoods.
We'll definitely keep you guys, on the same page as we path through this thing. I just want to make sure that as we present stuff out to the community, that we're following through on it.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw out ideas that we might not solve this issue, or we might not be able to get it done and set everybody's expectations. So I want to make sure that we bring something to you guys, that we have credibility, and we're bringing it, and we're going to accomplish this.
Yep.
Well, great. Thank you for that report. And if anybody else has anything else they would like to discuss, it looks like we're actually going to wrap up a little early. Would give us all time to go enjoy this fabulous summer evening. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the order?
No, thank you, Lou, for the incredible effort you put into the community benefits agreement. It's astounding.
It is.
You know, it's
Very
It's-
happy to do it, and it's been such a great team effort. And so I look forward to working with everybody to finish this up and actually get it executed, and then we'll figure out some kind of a party.
Great.
Lou, quick question. Do you or does East West have any timeline for finalizing this agreement prior to council?
Yeah, I've just asked for everyone to get to me whether their boards have voted within the next 2 weeks. So the process will be each of Cherry Creek North, we are meeting on the 5th. I know Hilltop is meeting next week. And I think you said Country Club was meeting soon. So the board,
Second Tuesday, yeah.
yeah, you have to all follow your appropriate action. I think Cherry Creek East is pretty well on their way. So we just need a proper approval because the signature block, and I'll send that to everybody so they'll know it was approved on such and such a day by the board pursuant to their bylaws. So there's just a confirmation that there was actually authority given for the board, for the president of the organization to execute the agreement. So if you all could do that within the next 2 weeks, that will put us in good shape to get this executed. And I'm not sure it'll actually be recorded against the property till after the hearing, but we will have a recordable copy. So we could go down and record it at any time, or I'll probably just have Corey Rutz at Ott and Johnson record it so that we can get a confirmation that it's actually a covenant running with the land against the property.
Well, it'll just be important before we take it at least to our board. I don't know about others, that we have a document that we can present that say, this is it, because we've gone through so many iterations that it would be nice to say, okay, this is it, guys.
Yeah, that's why you'll notice in the resolution that we passed that it does allow for cleanup changes, attachment of signature blocks and those kinds of things, and correction of typos. And so usually you put that in your resolution that here's the final but you're authorized to approve any changes that are of this immaterial
Yeah,
kind.
or Lou is authorized to make those changes.
Well,
And-
hopefully they will all be done before in the next couple of days, and I'll be able to get to you a memo where you can share it with your board. You've all been so involved at your board level that I think that'll be pretty easy for you. So hopefully that'll work. And again, I'm happy to help as needed.
Thanks, Lou.
So, okay, with that, we will
I
adjourn.
want to add one more thing in case people can't make it to the District 5 conversation about affordable housing. Paul Cashman's district is going to be having one on Tuesday, September 10th from 5 to 6:30 over at Cook Park. So that's just another option if people, if that works better with your dance card.
Yeah, and just for those of you who don't know exactly what she's talking about, the mayor is coming to every one of the districts and he will be at Cherry Creek North at Bromwell School on September, hang on a second, 3rd at 5:30. So one of those, thank you, Meredith, for telling everybody about an alternative, but it's always good to be able to get the mayor in your district. So take advantage of it. If you've got questions about all of this, come and meet him. So, okay, with that, we will call the meeting adjourned, and I will thank you all and wish you a very happy, fun Labor Day long weekend.
Thanks, Lou.
Bye,
You too.
everybody.
All right.